Hello, family. Welcome to my channel. I'm Glacia, an intuitive life coach, Ascension guide, and I'm also a health coach. And today I'm making this video for you as an energy update for the time period of the end of 2024 around the solstice. So, some of the symptoms, I'm going to jump right in with you here with the symptoms. So many of you feel like you're in a holding pattern or have felt like you are unable to progress in your life while many things still keep breaking down, right? So I love to say breakdowns lead to breakthroughs. But the thing is, when you're in the breakdown phase, it's not fun, it's not easy, and it sometimes can feel like it's you're stuck there, right? Like that's just your new life. Your new life just sucks, right? And it's not that that's what's happening. It's that when we're in a really big holding pattern like this, and we do a really large time stream shift, like the one that we just pulled off. Which good job on that. All of you contributed to that, by the way. And when we do a big shift like this, though, we end up having people getting their activations at different points, right? So we all have codes within our spiritual DNA that get activated at different points. So we learn different spiritual lessons and get access to different spiritual information, right? When we are getting, it's almost like everybody's getting on the ferry still, right? In a way, like we're all still figuring out our activations and dropping our baggage. And one way I've been describing this transition to people is like moving through the hourglass. So if you were to move through the center of the hourglass, only like one grain of sand can go through at a time, right? And this is where when you're facing your spiritual lessons, right? You have to drop the baggage that prevents you from moving through that narrow passage. And that is what this huge purge has been. And then on top of it, we have the abandonment wound that all of us have that is coming up as well. So it makes us want to cling to these older ways or something familiar, right? Because things are changing so very rapidly right now. And sometimes having something familiar makes you feel comfort. However, make sure that the things that are bringing you comfort are actually really good for you, okay? And support your ascension process and not just support your ego, right? Feeling safe in the moment. As we pass through this narrow hourglass opening, right? You do it alone. So this is where a lot of people, even people in partnerships, are taking time away from each other or are in jobs that take each other away from each other or family stuff, for many reasons are separated from each other because everybody has to go through this process individually as a collective, right? So it's like a field of flowers, right? Each one gets to bloom on its own in its own time, and the one next to it can't bloom for it. As we shift from the inverted grid into the organic light grid, right? This is something that we've been in stasis for, well, off and on for a while, right? And now you understand why. And part of this also is getting everybody into divine harmony and divine alignment within the unity consciousness grid systems. So when you're in divine alignment and divine harmony, this is where things flow. This is where you're not forcing things. This is where things are not as much of a struggle or this is serendipity. This is synchronicity. When we're in divine harmony and divine flow, we are allowing what we have created to come to us peacefully and easily. And the unity consciousness grid and the future that we're co-creating together relies on all of us following our inner guidance. That's part of our source level creation, right? Our source level creation, we are a spirit at source level, and we are source energy, and so getting into a space where all of this is flowing together is taking some time, and it will continue to take some time. And so the energetic structures the new energetic structures are being built while the old physical structures and energetic structures are being broken down around us, right? So, what we're looking at here is kind of an in between the old and the new, and that's kind of like the plane ride, right? You're in the air. You're in between your destination and your departure city, right? So it puts us kind of in this work in progress, but this is what I want to say to you is that this phase will pass. Everything is temporary. Everything. Right? So all the good times, all the bad times, all the challenges, all the ease, everything is temporary. It's constantly in motion, right? And so this will pass. And that's something I want you to remind yourself of when you get into difficult situations where life really just feels like it kind of sucks and things don't seem to be changing. That's where you stay in the question, what else is possible? And then also stay in positive self-talk right now. That is one of the most important things is to maintain positive inner dialogue because you're creating through those words that you're saying to yourself, right? And so boosting yourself up, reminding yourself that you are a unique being, that only you can serve the unique role that you came here to serve, right? And that you are relevant, you are necessary, and it's okay that things are hard for you sometimes. It doesn't mean you're failing. It doesn't mean you're doing something wrong. And in fact, some of the most spiritually advanced people have been through the most challenges and insane spiritual warfare challenges too. So think about the collective kind of like a symphony or an orchestra or like a marching band, right? Sometimes people have to march in place and wait their turn to play or to march, right? So we're all kind of getting into this harmonious flow where everybody can be their greatest contribution and we can kind of shift this reality a bit and start getting into co-creation that really works for us. Okay, so another symptom is that it can feel like areas of your life are up in the air. Like, um, I joke about it with some people who are going through similar activations. I call it the series of unfortunate events that you face. Like it's one and the next, it's like a cascading waterfall of them, even. And the thing is, as all these areas like kind of fall apart in your life and you're just watching, like, like with dismay, right? And disbelief. But the truth is, right now, the reason that happens is to break down the fears, right? To break down all of your fears because fear is the opposite of pure source consciousness, right? Or pretty much. So with the energy of fear, it does have its appropriate place. I'm not saying it's bad or wrong because it's very functional. It's a great thing that we have. However, we misuse it a lot, right? Just like a knife is also a functional tool. If you do things with it, you can really get hurt bad, or you can hurt others bad too, right? If you don't use it appropriately. So, we're learning to trust source energy. We're learning to surrender into our divine flow, into our highest timelines, right? Now, when we start manifesting things that are not for us, we start to get into situations that don't make us feel great. And then we have to handle that situation, come to completion with it before we can actually get back on track to our divine path, right? And so this is where like trying to manifest things from the ego right now is going to slow you down massively. And so really check in with your heart. Is this necessary? Is this a relevant creation for me? Do I need to make this? Is this something that is worthy of me bringing into form? Am I going to want to keep this once I create it? Because creation and destruction are two sides of the same coin, right? Because what you create, you have to take accountability for, good, bad, or otherwise. So be careful with your creations too. So, now, when our lives are up in the air, it's a perfect time to rearrange things, to leave things behind in certain areas of life, to clear things out. And creating change in all areas of your life is really intense. And so, do check out my website if you're interested in taking one of my courses. I have a course coming up that's a 13-week transformation course to help all areas of your life because of this breakdown right now. because people are in such a great place to shift things, to release things, to build new things, to put new structures in place while the old structures are being broken down within each of our own personal architecture, right? So, moments of extreme discomfort. So, you can have moments with these activations that you just feel really off and really bad. It feels like something's wrong. It can make you pace around your house or feel anxiety or like you're on the edge of a panic attack. So, these moments of extreme discomfort are you expanding. Okay. So, I know it almost seems like the opposite should be happening. When you expand, you should feel elated and blissful. But really, with these expansions, you tap into more of all that is. And all that is not all roses and butterflies, right? So there's a lot going on that you can become aware of. And then also know that there's frequency wars going on too, and nutritional imbalances and energetic imbalances, especially energetic imbalances in the root center of the body or the energy body. You can get very, very upset if you have a deficiency of energy in your root center. It can make you feel really depressed. So, if you're dealing with depression, do things to build that root. Profound insight into past actions is another major symptom right now. So this is also going to cause discomfort most likely because it's like a form of introspection that you're actually getting prompted by your spirit to take a look, like almost like a life review, right? Like the story with Scrooge where he goes through the different life reviews with the different spirits, right? We're kind of doing that in real time in our own consciousness, looking back over the ways that we've hurt others or how we've impacted or where now it doesn't make sense that we made that choice, right? So this is all just kind of a completion, going over past timelines, a way of wrapping things up and really making course corrections, right? Because when you become aware that one of your actions is really destructive or maybe multiple, right? In that moment, you have a choice. You're at a fork in the road to either continue with the action and create more destruction in your life or stop and do what you know to be the better action for you, right? Because there's no right or wrong. There is no exact path laid out for you that, oh, you did it right, oh, you did it wrong. It's not like that. It's really about, are you accomplishing what your spirit set out to accomplish? Because you have a spiritual mission. We all do, right? And so it's really looking at that and deciding, am I living my mission right now? Am I living my spiritual purpose? Or what kind of contribution am I being in this world? Am I hurting the people that love me? Am I being careful with my words? Am I saying things? Here's the thing about saying things. People can't unhear it when you say it, and words are much sharper than knives when it comes to cutting somebody down. Now, when you say things, we get this new awareness of how our words impact others. That's part of this activation, right? Because then we can take more accountability and we have more consciousness and awareness in our creations through our verbal communication with others. So when we speak, we bring things into form. When we speak things negative about another person, it may take them a lifetime. They may never, ever get over that. So make sure what you are saying, especially to children or people that you love, make sure it's relevant and it's necessary. Okay? Because this is where all the trauma comes from. People who love each other hurting each other most of the time. It's not the only place, but a lot of trauma comes through that, where we get abandoned by the people that we love. Or we get hurt by the people that we love. We want to feel safe with others around us, and when they hurt us with their words, we don't feel safe. So let's create a safe world together, and let's really be conscious about what we're speaking into form and what we're speaking to each other. And you won't be able to avoid it because it's an activation anyways. It's an activation of higher consciousness. Okay. So something that you may notice with a lot of the challenges you're facing is that they're looping negative patterns. So right now we're in a very strong mirroring phase with others. So people will come into our lives for a season, a reason, a lifetime, whatever, right? But most people are coming in right now just for a reason. Because we have completions as these timelines collapse and converge. We have completions that with a lot of different souls, right? And so they'll come into our life and also with a lot of different spiritual lessons. And so different people will, as a soul, agree to work out different lessons with each other. But then when they get into these situations, it may not work out. It may create more problems than actually create a solution sometimes. It depends on what people choose to do with their personal focus and their energy, right? Their expression. And so finding yourself in a situation with different people, yet the energy feels the same, that is a growth opportunity for you. You are the center of that. There is something in that for you. And it may be for you to look at where you are creating it or somehow playing small and not really stepping into your power, which is more of a victim perspective, right? That's what the people kind of caught up in a victim perspective play small and defend their limitations and defend their shortcomings and things like that rather than um, release and expand. And I'm not saying it's easy to release and expand. It's not, because when you've been victimized, it creates a mindset that then is a challenge for you to overcome because your brain tells you, hey, this is going to happen. It's not your fault if you get caught up in victim mindset, but it is your responsibility to shift yourself out of it, however that has to happen, right? And not to victimize other people along the way. So some of you are grid workers. Some of you are grid workers that don't know you're grid workers because you're not actively doing work on the grid while you're awake. Typically, grid work is more of an unconscious thing that people are sleeping while they're doing it, or they're unconsciously guided to different areas that then their natural field and their natural coding helps to activate, right? Some people are doing it consciously, but the majority are not. So the grid workers, though, right now, so a grid worker is a person who operates as a mechanic on the energy grid systems and also as a placeholder for the damaged grid points. So the damaged grid points, those are ones that have largely been taken over and have been allowing this situation on our planet of diminished consciousness, we'll say. And the people who are grid workers move around the planet. A lot of them travel quite a bit and activate these different grid points just with their presence, right? And the reason that we have to have grid workers is because the grid was destroyed in many places, but that information still needs a place to land and anchor into the planet, right? So they're like these temporary receivers for the information that would normally be sent through the grids. And many of you do grid work that it's not like a full-time spiritual thing that you're doing. It's you may just do it temporarily here and there too, but you probably won't know about it, honestly. You know, your conscious mind doesn't know how to do grid work. But your spirit does, right? And so that's what I have for you today. And I do want to finish my shout out to all the grid workers. Thank you so much for everything you're doing. We literally would not be doing this without all of you doing what you're doing. And in fact, everybody, we wouldn't be doing any of this without all of us contributing this way. And many of us have been looping lifetime after lifetime after lifetime, trying to set ourselves up for success for this time period. And you know what? You've been doing amazing. Everything you've endured. Thank you. Thank you for continuing to move forward and work on yourself and just for being excellent human beings, for being amazing people. So thanks for showing up. I love you so much, and I will see you very soon. Bye-bye.